What's up, everyone? Morey here, and this is episode 4 of the Morey Miles podcast, and we have a great guest for you today. It's going to be Jaylen Henderson, who is the quarterback at Fresno State, or the number 2 at Fresno State, and really has a great story. Transferred from Narbonne to Chaminade, and had to make a decision on where he wanted to play college football, and just looking at the NIL and all the different things that have to do with college football, and being able to also give you guys a little bit more about what it's like to be a quarterback at that FBS level. Wanted to be able to talk to somebody that has that experience. So Jaylen Henderson was great. I'm really looking forward to hearing your guys' feedback on this episode. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and we'll hop right into it. I'm really excited to be able to talk with Jaylen about all these things. I know we haven't really talked about, a lot of this stuff. And so I think it's going to be a great resource, for people. So, thanks for hopping on, Jaylen.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, we'll just start from the beginning. We want to know more about the Jaylen Henderson story. I was telling them before, I was like, we'll have you on right now when you're, in college. Nobody really knows about you, but once you go and make it into the league, then we'll have to have another conversation and see how that all goes. So, so first, let's start off with you're at Narbonne as a freshman, right? And I don't know exactly how that year went for you, but then you ended up making a transition, and I don't remember if it was your freshman and sophomore year or just freshman year, but yeah, I mean, maybe give us a little bit of a background, even how you started playing quarterback. You're such an athletic guy in general, so and I know you played basketball as well, so we want to hear more about the Jaylen Henderson story.
So I actually started playing basketball first. That was my first sport. Started playing that around like 4 years old. And then one day I was just driving with my dad and my brother, and we saw like these guys practicing for football, and they decided to throw me in there. We talked to the coaches, and I didn't think I was going to play. I didn't want to play football at first, but then they threw me in. I ended up loving the sport. And then that's where my love for it really came in. I was about 7 years old. And I played every position, linebacker, corner, receiver, running back. And then I ended up making the switch to quarterback about midway through my first year playing. And since then, I never looked back. Been doing training, all the training, everything. And then with Narbonne, my 9th grade year, I was on JV. We did pretty good. I think we lost like 1 or 2 games. I got moved up to varsity. We won our state championship. And then sophomore year, we lost 3 games, went to the semifinals, and I loved it at Narbonne. It was a great experience. Still have a lot of close friends and teammates there that are playing Division I football. Some are in the league right now, and but I made the transfer to Chaminade. I felt like it was just a better academic experience for me, and the coaches there at Chaminade, they really knew the game better, to me at least, where they can develop me as a better quarterback. And when I went there, I noticed it was like night and day with the information I learned as a quarterback. So I'm glad I made the transition.
Yeah, and what went into your decision even to go to Narbonne, right? Because I mean, I know there's some people that are not from this area that are listening, and so Narbonne is a city school, LA city school. So in terms of competition right now, I mean, I went to Birmingham at the time. Birmingham is also a city school, a little bit more competitive, right? Narbonne was somebody that we would play, and it would be a good game. In Narbonne, when Jaylen was at Narbonne was beating everybody by, in the city by like
40, 50 points.
Yeah. So they were way better than any of the other competition. So, what went into that decision to go to Narbonne, right? Because obviously you went in with a competitive mindset. And then, I know there was another quarterback there at Narbonne too. I don't know if he transferred in or what was the situation, but that had to be part of the reason that you ended up making the change as well. What went into Narbonne? Going there in the first place.
So I went to Narbonne. I saw that they were dominant and they got a lot of their guys out to the D1 level, and that was something that I took interest in. I talked to the coaching staff. They really liked the offensive coordinator, Coach Brandon, at the time. So that really went into my consideration. And me and some of my Pop Warner teammates, we all went as a group. We're like a package deal there. So, we all went together, had some success there. And then some things happened. Like I had a competition with quarterback Jake Garcia, who's at Miami now. We fought hard. He's a great quarterback. Both did our thing. But I just felt like it was just time for a move and just something where I can have my own thing and we can both be successful at our own level. So I feel like it worked out for both of us.
Yeah, and so then you and I'm curious about how this all is too, because again, being at Birmingham, I was at more of a not as inner city as Narbonne, but definitely more of a city school. And then going to Chaminade, I mean, I've worked with them from more of a coach perspective, not from a student perspective, but I've always been
Yeah.
interested in what was that transition like, because I know for the city schools we didn't have a lot of academic stress. And
Yeah.
so Chaminade is definitely one of the more academically challenging schools. So that had to be a big change from one to the other.
Yeah, it was definitely different. I'll tell you that. Yeah, like you said, Narbonne it was public schools. Chaminade is a college prep, so academically it got me right and ready for college right now. I think Chaminade is tougher than college right now. That's how challenging it was. At Narbonne, I still got a good education. But Chaminade was just different. It was a different atmosphere. I just felt like it was more of a family at Chaminade. That's something why I liked it there too.
And what made it seem like it was
Mm-hmm.
more of a family, Chaminade? That's an interesting statement.
Um,
Like on the team
well,
or
I
the school in general, or
even just the school in general, everybody was close. We had like prep rallies and stuff at Chaminade. We didn't have any of that at Narbonne, so we had like prep rallies and different like activities. So everybody was kind of closer. At Narbonne, everybody is kind of to themselves. But it was cool though. A lot of the football players to themselves, but at Chaminade, everybody was interacting with each other, all sports, just even regular students. So made a lot of friends there.
nice. And so then when you were at Chaminade, right? So you made the transition there.
Yeah.
What was it? And I know you always had success as a quarterback. Probably even in the Pop Warner days. But how when it comes to a level of competition and being able to play it at a high level, what is some of the mindset that goes into being successful, being competitive, making it so you have success in the biggest games? Because I see a lot of quarterbacks that have a lot of arm strength, have a lot of potential. I think as just being able to compete when it comes to 7-on-7, or when the pads aren't on, when the lights aren't on. But then,
Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of ways, you're almost better when it comes to game time, right? The biggest
Yeah.
games, you always had, your best games. And, so what went into, how do you do that? How do you make it so you have the best games when the lights are on, and continue to have success like that down the road?
Well, I think it starts when the lights are off, really. Like you said, in the weight room, like all that stuff matters. People think you can just show up in the game and just think you can perform. Starts with the weight room, film work, all that stuff, extra work. That was my mindset. I wanted to be the best quarterback in the Valley, and well, not just the Valley, the whole California. So I had a chip on my shoulder every time we played against somebody, and when we played against another quarterback who was quote unquote ranked higher than me, I took it personal. So I wanted to go in and show why I feel like I was better, and that was just my mentality. And I feel like that got me to where I am now. I'm gonna continue having that hunger. So
I love it. I love it. And so when
yes,
you
sir.
and when you get ready for the season, and put all that competition into your preparation, right, and the weight room, and throwing routes with the receivers, putting in the extra work. uh where did that fire originally come from, right? Was that something that maybe was instilled with competition with your siblings? Was that something that like your parents got into you? Was that something that because you just like fell in love with the certain NFL players, or somebody like had an influence on you when you were younger? Because I'm always interested in like what makes people more motivated at your age than others.
Yeah, so growing up playing Pop Warner, I was competing at quarterback position my whole life. So I was always in a quarterback battle with somebody, 8 through 14 years old, and it was never easy for me. So I was always in a competition. I kind of like that's where I got my competitive nature. I didn't want to let the other guy win anything. If we're running, I didn't want to let him win. I wanted to have the stronger arm, be the faster guy. So that's where I got my competitive nature from, and it just carried on until now. So, and then also my brother, me and him were very competitive. He's way older than me, but I wanted to prove that I was better than him too. So
That's awesome. I
yeah,
love it. And so now you're going into your senior year, right? And I guess kind of refresh. I know Louisville was a school that you were looking at because they had success with Lamar Jackson at the time.
yeah,
Or it was shortly after that time period. Obviously you ended up going with Fresno State. I'm sure there were more schools that were local that were interested as well. So what made you make the decision of going to Fresno State? And, when you're looking as an athlete, whether it's Division I, Division II, whatever the case may be, what goes into, or what do you think is important to look at from a recruiting perspective? And even, how did you get yourself out there to get recruited by these schools?
Well, I went for me personally, I went because of our coaches who end up leaving, but I know our offensive coordinator, our old offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. They had a good system with the past quarterbacks, and I saw that. And I know Fresno State had a tradition of getting quarterbacks out, so that's what drew interest for me. But as an athlete, looking through the D1 process, I would just say see if yourself can fit there. See if you can fit there. Don't just go anywhere because of the name, but see if you can fit there. If you fit the system, and at the end of the day, you're the one that has to live there. So if you don't think you're going to be happy, I wouldn't go there. And it takes work. I was blessed to get 28 offers, but I was sending my film to all these colleges and everything, and so it took a lot of work. It didn't just happen. So yeah, that's kind of what happened.
I know. So, and you had a lot of success too your junior year. So, and you're a
Yeah,
big dude. So it was kind of a surprise
yeah,
it took as long as people did because of all the tools that you got.
yeah.
And hopefully you still use that as fire and motivation, right?
Yes, sir.
But yeah.
Yes, sir.
So when you go through, I mean, did you go to any like Elite 11 or any camps, or you just were just sending film to coaches?
So it was both. I did Elite 11 camps from like my sophomore and junior year because COVID happened my senior year, so I couldn't get to go. But I did Elite 11 camps. I did UCLA camps, USC camps, Rise and Fire. I did the whole camp circuit. So I think that definitely put me on the map. Also, you just see different scouts and recruiters just looking at you and getting the information down. So that also helped too.
And then was there a certain school that you wanted to go to, when you were growing up or anything like that? Was there ever like a certain, I mean, I can't imagine Fresno State was your dream scenario. So I guess give us a little bit of that. And then what made you actually maybe go away from that scenario and choose Fresno State instead?
Well, honestly, growing up, I was a Louisville fan, like, because I love basketball. So I love their basketball team. And then also football. I love watching Lamar Jackson, Teddy Bridgewater. So I was a Louisville fan. And then when I got the offer, it was like a dream come true, kind of. But I didn't want to let that get in the way. Fresno, I feel like I still made the right decision. I fit here, and I still love the system we have with our new staff. And but it was also like it was a dream to get an offer from your school growing up that you liked. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, and what made
mhm.
you not decide Louisville? You just thought, because did they change up coaching staffs?
Yeah, that's what happened. They ended up getting entire new coaching staff right before like signing day and everything. So I didn't know what the situation was going on over there. So the guy that offered me wasn't there anymore. So
Okay. So you were like, okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna go with the system that I like a little
yeah,
bit more. But yeah, it is
yeah,
interesting with the scope of college football, how fast all these coaches are moving and going from one place to the other. So
yeah.
there's a
And the
lot going
transfer
on.
portal now too is crazy too.
Yeah. You could basically get 1 year of being able to transfer whenever, really wherever,
Yeah,
correct?
yes, sir.
Makes it very different. But yeah, so then with that being said, let's go from, so now you chose Fresno State, right? And getting the coaches and getting a feel of the school first before making that decision. And so, now you are at Fresno State, and from a competition level, from a commitment level, like just give us a little bit of an insight of like what was the difference between high school and Division I FBS?
Well, high school, there's like a few star players on the team. But in college, everybody was the star player on their high school team. So that's the difference. But now it just comes down to who wants it more, work ethic, who's going to spend the most time in the film room and doing the extra. Because everybody has natural talent. Everybody at D1 level can play, but it's just really who comes down to who wants it more. So
yeah, and how much time do you put into, on a daily basis or on a weekly basis? How much is football in school? Like how much free time do you get?
Not much. um, football in school. I mean, that's the reason why I came here. So I came with a plan. Obviously you want to have a balance with having like a life outside of football and school, but that's the reason why I came. So all of my time is knocking out my schoolwork, and then if we're not in practice, watching extra film. And when I get a chance, to probably watch like a TV show at night or something, and then restart the day.
Yeah. And I mean, how often are you guys lifting, and what goes into, I guess, that part of it as well, lifting,
Yeah.
conditioning. And I mean, walk us through a day. We wake up, you
Okay.
go to class from this time to this time, you're in film, maybe during spring ball. I know that I remember spring ball being grueling because it's like, yeah, walk us through a day of spring ball.
Okay. So yeah, spring ball is definitely grueling, but one of our days we'll wake up at like we'll have to check in by 5:50. So I'm waking up at 4:30, 4:50 at the latest. Then we have our breakfast check-in probably around like 6. And then after that we have position meetings, probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock. And those go for about an hour. And then we're getting taped, getting all of our equipment right and everything. Then we're in the field probably about 8:20. And our practice is about 2.5 hours maybe. And we're getting all of our installs in, individual time, team periods, 7-on-7, special teams. So it's a grind for sure. And then not every day is live, like getting wise. Some days are like wrap up. But when we go live, you can definitely feel the energy from everybody on the team. And then after that, so after that I had class at 12. So now I'm getting in the shower, getting ready for class. I have like a 20-minute break window before I have to go to class. So I get my food and then I'm scooting to class. And then so that's one day. And then the next day we wouldn't have practice. We would just have a lift. Um, we'll run in the morning and then we'll lift later. And so we lifted Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays was upper body, Thursday was lower body. This is during spring ball. And then Saturday was like a little recovery lift. So we're stretching and then do like a little curls and all that stuff just to get the body moving and stuff like that. And then we're starting it again the next week.
Yeah, and you
So
guys would have
that's a
probably
day.
film sessions too, right? Or the film sessions would be in the morning.
Yeah, film sessions in the morning. This is film sessions probably about 7 to 8 o'clock.
Okay.
It's like a whole hour. So that's with your position coach. And then after that, you watch film on your own. Like whoever just wants to watch film, really.
Yeah.
That's spring, and then fall camp's a whole different schedule. You're there from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's a long day. There's so many meetings, and then lifting and all that stuff. So looking forward to that. That's in about 2 months. So
Yeah, I get a lot of time into that. And
yeah,
one of the things that I love about going to, I know my dad, and that's how I know Jaylen. So my dad coached Jaylen when he was in high school, and so all growing up, we would always go to like the Rose Bowl practices. My dad loves going and watching pro practices, college practices, see if he can get some ideas. So we would always go, and at the time. I mean, I remember going to USC practices and they'd be getting ready, and Oregon when they were, doing really well for a long time. And he runs that spread offense as well. And so, the competition, I feel like, is just on a totally another level. And I know, my dad does the best that he can to keep everything nice and competitive. So I know the transition wasn't as probably as different. But, from even maybe Narbonne, and Chaminade and making that transition from a practice intensity level, but then even from Chaminade to Fresno, what are the levels of intensity, the difference? Because I remember too in college, it's like if you drop a ball, it's like you just freaking lost us the goddamn game. Like get your
yeah,
ass out of the freaking
yeah.
and so point is competition and just the level of the expectations that are, put on you guys. Walk us through the differences from Pop Warner, high school, college.
So I would say Pop Warner, Pop Warner high school are really in practice. They're kind of lackadaisical, fun, stuff like that. And in college, practice is still fun because you get to compete, play the game you love, but every rep matters in practice. It's not just a switch that you turn on the game. The switch is in practice too. And I feel like practices are harder than the games. And you don't have to tell guys to compete. Everybody knows their job and they're trying to stay on scholarship. If you're not producing, they'll put you at the bottom of the depth chart, possibly take your scholarship. So no one wants that to happen. And if you're not getting it done, the coaches, they're trying to fend for their families too. So they got to have the right guys out in the field, and they're not going to put somebody out there that's not producing for them. So
I think Fresno State is kind of more of that school where people are very hungry there to be able to make a name for themselves. Because it almost ends up, we were kind of laughing about it, where it's like, if you don't make it to, USC or UCLA, people think, oh man, maybe I could go to Fresno State, but Fresno State has beaten UCLA at least the past 2 years, maybe 3 years, and so there's no slouch when it comes to the level there. But I guess sometimes the stigma is that the athletes at Fresno State are not as good as some of those other schools, and that could even be something that we can go into is like, what is the realistic level that you guys are truly, playing at Fresno State?
Well, like you said, we beat UCLA the last 5 times. Just throwing that out there. But now we definitely have the athletes. And one thing I love about this program is that everybody, like you said, everybody's hungry. Everybody has that gritty mentality, and we know we're the underdogs going into the big games, the Pac-12 teams and other big conferences. So I feel like that's another chip on our schedule. We have them circled on our schedule, and they probably don't have us circled. But that's why we go into the game with more fire, and they go in lackadaisical, thinking it's going to be a cake game, but we catch them by surprise. So it's no surprise to us. We practice for it, and we know we can beat those teams. So we just come out more hungry than them.
Yeah, and when you go into the higher ranks, the college ranks, how important do you feel like your mechanics are, and kind of the preparation? I mean, some of the things that you prepare, or what is it that you really are working on to continue to develop as a quarterback?
I think the most important thing is having just timing as a quarterback, having timing with your receivers. Okay. You can have the quickest feet work, but if your feet work don't time up with the routes, then you're getting sacked, or you're holding on to the ball too long and throwing an interception. So I feel like whatever feet work you have to use, just have the timing to get to your receivers. I feel like that's the most important thing. Obviously having good feet helps, helps with the pocket movement and stuff like that. But just timing really is the most important thing, and having a quick release too. So I feel like those are the 2 most important things.
Yeah, and I mean, have you done anything to work on those areas?
So our strength and conditioning coach, he has us quarterbacks, in the weight room with like some bands, and we do like a lot of band work just to get our shoulder strength and mobility up, to have a quicker release. And we're doing like a lot of like little small, like little med balls, and we're holding them, doing a whole bunch of stuff with those for rotation. So that helps release and shoulder stability and all that stuff. And then just for the timing, just getting out with your receivers, doing extra work, just matching up your feet with their routes and stuff. So that's what we do.
Okay, nice. And competition wise, I know I'm talking a lot about that, but I love competition, right? I live off
it's healthy for sure.
Yeah. So where are you on the depth chart? And how do you go about each day trying to get to that number 1 spot and make it so you're the guy on Saturdays?
Yeah. So Jake Hainer, he had a real good year last year. He'll be a senior, super senior this year. So right now I'm just I'm definitely competing against him, not trying to make it easy for him, but still trying to learn from him, pick his brain. And he's been great in that area. Every time I have a question for him, he'll help me and like kind of show me some things. So even when I'm not in, just watching him, I'm learning from him, seeing what he's doing right or doing wrong, and trying to add that to my game. So definitely competing against him, but still learning and just trying to still learning from him. So
yeah. And so, in terms of your position, do you feel like you're going to be the guy at once he is gone? I mean, does that kind of look like what the situation is going to be?
That's the goal. I mean, I didn't come to Fresno State to sit the bench, so
I
that's the
love it.
goal for me to start.
Yeah. And so what are some of the things that are different between him and you when it comes to, performance? What are some of the things that you picked up? And then what are some of the things you feel like you could do potentially better?
He's a vet. He's been in the college system for 5 to 6 years now, so he's seen a lot of different looks. So I feel like he has an advantage with that. He's seen a lot of different looks. He knows the system very well. Um, and that's what he has really. And then he stands in the pocket, makes the throws, and I'm more of like I could also stand in the pocket, but I'm more like to extend the plays when things break down and create something with my legs, or even just scrambling and throwing the ball on the run. So I feel like we have two different styles, but I learned from him and add little things to my game, and so yeah.
I love it. And I guess if you could go back and maybe start your high school career again, right, or
Yeah.
maybe even sooner, what are some of the things, or maybe something you would have done different in terms of your development?
Honestly, I would probably say stretch more. Stretching is huge when you get to college, and
Uh-huh.
everybody would tell me you have to stretch more in high school. I'm like, yes, whatever. I was still faster than pretty much all the dudes on the field, But a lot of guys, as they get older, they're like they start pulling hamstrings and everything like that. So just to avoid that, I say stretch more. Um, after you're done working out, just get a little 5 to 10 minute stretch in. Doesn't really do much. Also rolling out and everything like that. So
Just taking care of
that's
your
that's
body
something
more.
yeah, taking care of your body more, getting your flexibility up.
Yeah, and I guess with that we'll go into too, like nutrition, rest. How important is that for you right now in comparison to maybe 2 years ago when you were in high school?
Uh, it's very important now. I try to get about 9.5 hours of sleep in. Cause we perform at a high level. We're always thinking, so you gotta have time for your brain to rest too. In high school days you stay up, and especially at Chaminade with all them essays it was given, staying up till 4 o'clock sometimes.
Yeah.
But nah, that rest is definitely important. Eating the right things. If you're eating bad, you'll be sluggish on the field. Now you can't produce. So eating the right things so you can stay healthy and everything like that. So it all plays into a part.
I love it. And then in terms of the I guess the college lifestyle now. So I mean, what are you majoring in right now? What made you go into that decision in terms of
So I'm trying to major in business with emphasis on entrepreneurship. Um, so when football doesn't last forever, so when that's over, I want to be able to run my own business, and I'm still undecided on that yet. But just to have the major, and then work with some people in that industry.
and then
Yeah.
I'm also curious because I mean I played at a smaller school, so I didn't really have any NIL opportunity, but I'm sure you guys. What's the NIL thing like? I mean, does that I guess just what is that like from a college perspective? I mean, does that give you guys a lot more opportunity? I'm curious to hear from a college perspective.
Yeah, NIL is huge. I'm happy that I feel like it benefits us. But the deals and everything, you have to still stay focused. A lot of guys get these deals, they lose their heads and they're not producing on the field. But we're still working on that aspect of NIL. I'm working on some things right now too. So I feel like we have some guys on the team that have NILs, and happy for them and what they're doing. So I feel like it's a big part of college football now.
Yeah, I know it does. It does seem like it has totally changed some of the dynamics
Yeah.
In college football. So I'm curious in how it all develops over the next few years. And so
Yeah.
in terms of with being able to get more sponsorships and more opportunity there, is there anything that you kind of do to be able to get yourself out there, or is it or do you have like an agent or anything like that? Because you can have an agent now, right? Or no?
Yeah, I think you can, but you have to go through you have to go through your school so they can make sure that you get the okay from them. Because there's still I can't remember what they said, but there's still some way you can get in trouble if you have an agent if they don't know or something. So your school has to know, at least ours. they have to know about the agents and all that stuff.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
It just started, so we're always trying to learn the rules and everything. We're not trying to get, players suspended or anything. So our school is very like cautious and all into the rules and everything. We literally have meetings going over like what you can and cannot do. So we're all still learning about it too.
Just in terms of kind of some of the off the field stuff,
Mhm.
is have you started? When did you start kind of like writing goals and having that part of your life down, right? Because you have to be goal oriented, I feel like, to be competitive and to consistently have focus and discipline and all that. So
Well, I had my goals written down before I even got to Fresno State. So as soon as I committed or assigned, that's when I had my goals ready, my own personal goals.
yeah.
There's some I've achieved, and there's some I'm still trying to work on getting. So, um, like you said, the competitive mindset. I came to be a starter. So one of my goals was to start, win games, win championships at Fresno State.
I know you're in a place that has other college people around you all the time. There's
Yeah,
a lot more potential distraction. Um, how do you stay focused? How do you stay disciplined?
you just got to remember why you came to the program. It's for football. All that other outside stuff is cool. It's good to have your fun on the side, but you have to stay focused. And if it ever comes between work and fun, you got to always put work first. So that's how I look at it. Once I get all my stuff done, then okay, yeah, hop on the game, watch a movie, hang out with my roommates. But I gotta get my work done first, and just always staying humble, and because just as quickly as you get all this stuff, it can go away. So always just stay humble and thank God for my blessings.
I love it. And then in terms of leadership, because that was one thing that a person in one of my programs reached out to me about, recently. He's like a quarterback, and I guess there's he's a junior, the other guy's a
Mm.
senior, but it still feels like, and this is more the parent, still feels like the kid is a little bit more like in the back, right? Is not really stepping up as a quarterback to be a true leader, right? So what goes into being a leader, and when did you start developing as a leader, and I guess how do you even work on continuing to improve in that regard?
Right. So I think there's two types of leadership: leading by example and also vocal leaders.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like quarterbacks are kind of like built-in vocal leaders. Everybody's looking up to them, expecting them to give the speeches and all that stuff. And as a leader, like the line, they're look all the players, they're looking at you to like get us going or get the team going. So that's kind of like you don't want to, as a leader, you don't want to let them guys down. So you want to have your stuff together, make sure you're prepared and everything for them, not to let them down. And then I expect the same from them, their full effort and everything like that. And then leading by example, you don't always have to be you don't always have to be the vocal guy yelling and everything. You can just be working, and you maybe encourage the next guy next to you to show him like, oh, he's working hard, so maybe I should start working hard too. That even happens off the field. If you see a guy doing something he's not supposed to do, just kind of steer him in the right direction, and that's what you do for your brothers. So those are the type of leadership that we have at Fresno. Um, we look out for one another, and I feel like that's why it's a like close brotherhood.
That's awesome. I love that. And
Yeah.
then in terms of, I guess, the development of that. I mean, was that something
Yeah.
that you just kind of naturally just fell into, right? Where you're just like, okay, I know my job is as a quarterback, I'm going to
Mhm.
be the vocal guy, or did you feel like you had to kind of step into that role a little bit, or how did that all happen?
Well, when I started playing quarterback, I knew what I signed up for, so I knew I have to be kind of vocal. There's some quarterbacks that aren't like are allowed, and that's fine too. But me personally, I just like being vocal, telling guys, helping them out with, telling them what to do, helping them and stuff like that. So, but I think it could be worked on. Um, yeah, I think it could be worked on, and like I listen for leadership. I listen to like Kobe Bryant and motivational speakers and stuff like that. So that kind of helps me out, and that's also where I get another piece of my competitive drive from, because I was a big Kobe fan, and we all know Kobe, he never wanted to lose anything, so kind of got that from him too.
Yeah, no, I have a big Kobe picture in my office because
Yeah.
I was a big Kobe fan as well. So that's one thing that Kobe definitely blessed LA with. and will continue to bless LA with is there's like a crazy competitiveness, right? Just like what can't be denied, and gotta love that about them. And then just I guess to kind of wrap up the conversation here. I guess what is your why, right? Like what makes it so you have that motivation. If you're struggling through a workout, or when it's hard to get up in the morning, whatever case may be. I know for me, I care a lot about people. I care a lot about the people that I work with, and I want to be able to have a lasting change. And so that makes it so I can work the longer nights and the early mornings, and sacrifice some of my sleep and some of my personal time, and still have happiness through it, right? And I think at the end of the day, that ends up being critical. So how do you get through those grueling workouts, the long days, the tiring practices, and still have a great attitude, and still have the ability to have motivation, and still want to do what you're doing?
Yeah, well, I have a few reasons. One of them is, just first off, it's the game I love and truly love playing, and it's gonna be gone. There's some people that wish they could play this game of football or any sport, but they just physically can't. So, I always take into perspective, and I'm blessed to play the game. And then also, my sister, she had a saying, where I'm from, we never give up. And that was like her little family saying. She passed away of cancer. So every time things get tough, I just think of that little quote, like I'm not gonna give up. I got to finish it. So I kind of just think of her, and she gets me through a lot of things. And I also don't want to let my family down. So those are my whys, really.
That's awesome. I didn't know that about your sister. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's why we're 13. She passed away at the age of 13 from leukemia.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's cool. Makes it so you're constantly. Was that part of the decision making too, where you're like, hey, I'll go to Fresno State, but I need number 13?
Well, any school I would have went to, that was the bargain I was making. If I come, I gotta get 13. So luckily Fresno had 13 for me.
Nice. I know. I mean, a lot of times people feel like that's a bad luck number. So, but for you, that's you're lucky.
Yeah. Huh? For me, it represents motivation. It's good luck for me, so I'm good.
I love it. And then I guess any closing thoughts? I know we went over a ton of different things here. Thank you so much for answering all the questions, and being so open in all this. But any closing thoughts for quarterbacks out there, athletes out there, even any coaches or dads that are listening right
now? Really, I'd just say just put in the work. There's things. It's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy. But that's what separates people, who's gonna grind through and who's not. So I just say put in the work. Take coaching. Don't feel like you know everything. Your peer. Ask him for information. He may be able to help you. So I just feel like be open to things, be open to coaching, and everything's gonna fall into play. So
I love it. Yes, all right, man. Thanks again for hopping on the Morey Miles podcast.
Yes, sir.
Another great episode, I think. And again, I think you gave a lot of very honest, open answers, and I think it's going to be very, very beneficial for everybody to listen. If anybody wants to, I guess, contact you, reach out to you, maybe even if there's potential NIL deals in the future, what's the best way to be able to get in contact with you?
You can follow me on Instagram, DM me at jmoney13, not JAY, just regular J money 13. So that's how you can contact me.
Best way, Instagram. All right. There we go. So thanks again for watching and for listening. Be on the lookout for Jaylen Henderson, Fresno State quarterback, and another successful episode here.
Sir, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, thank you.